Hey, what's up? Welcome to the show today. There is a lot that I want to share, so I appreciate your time and attention. This video, again, is for the fans, viewers, friends, supporters of the DTM Life Regenerator Show. So let's see, where do I begin? I just had this crazy meditation where my physical body is just extremely energized, and of course, so was my mind. So I just watched it, just like you could have cooked an egg on my head, which I know I try to educate to, you know, calm the mind while you're meditating. But this robust energy is kind of nice. It's a culmination of many things. A couple of nights of good sleep, for one. I got a decent little cheap motel room here, and I'm actually moving into a better one today with a full kitchen because I want to probably spend about the next week getting caught up on consults, and I want to make some raw food educational videos as well, which is kind of my work. But I also really appreciate, and everyone else seems to really appreciate, the outside vlogs. And so many more of those to come. I'm going to be doing kind of like a partial raw food detox healing education channel, and on the same two channels, actually. I've got the old Life Regenerator channel back and the new channel, which actually is performing better. The new channel is performing better. But I'm going to continue on with the uh, hiking videos, adventure videos, but I also have a lot of, clients and people who are interested in, how they can get healthy. And, the world is just really not doing too well because they don't understand, enzyme nutrition. They don't understand life force, and everybody's basically, in their 30s, your enzymes just run out, and then you just from then on, if you're not practicing a high level of living foods, juicing, fasting, enzyme therapy, cultured foods with probiotics, then you're just going to continue to build up all the protein plaques, the fat plaques, the carbohydrate plaques in the body, and then everything under the sun is going to go haywire. You do fine in your 20s and the beginning of your 30s, but once your body is fully grown, your spine, your brain, your bones, skeletal, everything, then you basically, what happens is we wear out our, you know, we wear out our enzyme potential. And then after that, you just keep getting fatter and sicker and more tired. And so I'm going to try to educate as much as I can, especially within this week while I have a kitchen, because I have a friend here and she has a juicer and she needs therapy. So I said, if I can borrow your juicer and your blender to do a week's worth of educational videos, um, then I will give you some therapy and I will blast you with enzymes and green juice, and she totally gets the concept. It's just that, people have a hard time, making it happen. And I don't, I mean, I don't have a juicer, I don't have a blender, but I had an amazing living foods meal last night. And I think that's the reason why I feel so good today, is because I blasted hella enzymes and probiotics before I ate a raw living foods meal. Then I ate the raw living foods meal, only one meal a day, and that had the local lettuce and then the living sprouts, the living almonds, and then for the fat, I threw on the sun-dried olives. And I mean, I didn't even use any sauces or anything. It was just like monkey grub. And it's that living food that digests itself, energizes the body, and energizes the brain as well. So I'm going to be in this kitchen for about a week, just trying to, again, like I said, catch up on all the consults and, uh, make sure that my head stays above water. So hopefully it's an investment because this room I'm moving into today is um, more expensive, but it's one of my favorite places on earth. In fact, it's where I'd really love to bring people to do retreats because it's one of the most quiet, just soothing places on the earth. It's one of my favorite places on the earth. So I'm excited to. I just splurged on myself. I was just making a decision. I said, bro, you gotta get caught up on all these consults and get grounded. So I'm just splurging on myself. Um, because I bought an old used Subaru Outback and I built a bed in the back because of the when I was in the tent and everything, and I had the rental car. I had the RAV4 rental car and it just sucked. I don't like RAV4s. I'm glad I test drove these cars because I mean the best car was the U-Haul, the motor in that thing. I mean, if you have a empty U-Haul with a V8, that GMC, I'm like, I need to get that GMC van with that motor because that thing was hot. I was like driving that U-Haul like there was no tomorrow. But that V8 power is amazing. But the little Subaru's got the little four banger, and it's just handles way better than the RAV4. And I just threw the seats down. Went to Home Depot, cut a piece of plywood, leveled it out, and threw a mattress topper in there from Walmart. And I bought a some Walmart ghetto sheets. They're just gonna get dirty anyways. And then I bought a Walmart ghetto pillow, which I love the Mike Lindell pillows, by the way. The My Pillow. Those are the pillows that I use when I'm at home, and those are my favorite. I think the design of those is the best. Just FYI for everyone. So today's going to be a good day. I keep forgetting to say, if you want a consult, just email me. You know, a lot of people, they do Messenger and Instagram and stuff, and I focus on my email because the messages and stuff can get to be overwhelming. And then what happens is also as I get sucked into the social media. I'm just trying to do my job and stay focused on my little hub and not get sucked into the matrix because I find it to be very negative, And this is one of the things that I was thinking about during meditation, which I was trying not to. But then again, when you're meditating, you also don't fight it. You don't set up a battle within yourself either. You just witness. And there's nothing wrong with having an extremely robust body. There's a lot of light in my body. It's coming from my reproductive organs, as a matter of fact. It's been about 2.5 years since I've experienced any intimacy. So what happens is, as a man, it just becomes this extremely powerful, you know, center of energy, and then it just courses up your back into your brain and out your heart. So that's another thing where you waste a lot of your enzyme potential through excessive release of the seminal fluid. And people want to argue about that, but I've been off and on for 25 years, and there is no doubt in my mind. So I've done my own scientific experiments, and I could give a crap less about what anyone says. Um, and I'm not against it either, but I'm just within everything. I think there needs to be balance and reasonable, approach to food and everything else. Uh, so the other thing too that was going through my head this morning was just how everyone's burning out their enzyme potential with excessive sex, with the coffee, with the alcohol, with the cigarettes, with the drugs, with the pharmaceutical drugs, with the stress, with the pollution, with the excessive amounts of cooked food. Because I don't want to be the food police, and I never want anyone to feel bad. Never feel bad for anything you eat. Never feel bad for anything you eat. Now, that's going to be counterintuitive to the whole trip that I've been espousing here for a long time, but I've learned negativity doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Awareness works. attacking yourself, attacking other people, being negative, it's just going to diminish everything, every aspect of your entire life. And that's what's been going on the internet. That's all I see, and it's like I'm just not into it. It's sad. You would think if the world was the internet, it'd be like women hate men. It's all their fault. It's like this super negative feminist vibe, which I'm not into at all because I will say for the record, there are good men out here who want to provide and protect, but we're looking for a good woman who loves God and is not so bitter and angry all the time. So therefore, I just said it. I don't care what comments you leave me down below. There are good men out here looking for good women. But the thing is nobody wants to do the inner work. On social media, you get up here and you tell everybody, I eat vegetables so my yoni doesn't stink, and everyone is below me, and I'll just put my high heel into their back, and everyone's below me because I meditated for 5 minutes once, and I read a few spiritual books, and I have these white flowing linen gowns and giant breasts, so for them, but that's not real spirituality. In fact, you'll find out as you evolve, which is the most important thing you can learn from today's video, is that everything is equal. And that's might be hard for the ego to understand, but you will evolve and grow. And as you find yourself being humbled by life with a desire to not be better than anyone else or worse than anyone else, but see the equity, not the equity, that's the worst word for today's environment, but equality. That's a real word. Equity. Look that up. It's anyways, let's not get political, DTM. It's too early for that. But anyways, I love the politics. It's the most amusing thing in the world. I mean, when the president of the United States is a TV, you know, whatever that show host. It's a what do they call that? The just a TV star, whatever, reality TV star. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Then it's going to be entertaining, and so I think it's great. But I don't think people should be fighting about it and ruining their own lives. They're ruining their own lives with the negativity, and that's a huge thing I've noticed, and that's why I don't know if you could consider me like fighting it. I'm just trying to make posts and you'll see it lately. And I'm not like some Pollyanna that's like, hey, life doesn't suck sometimes because it does. But the more evolved you get, the less you care about how it's either pleasant or unpleasant because you have faith and trust. Because you'll notice as you evolve and mature and don't go into victim mentality that the Lord, God, the universe, source, higher consciousness, the divine, whatever you want to call it. I love all the words. It doesn't matter to me. As long as I'm worshiping it, I'm good. But you'll notice that all the crap that's happened actually turned out to be a good thing because you evolved, you were growing, you became smarter, things got moved around, like God will put a fire under your butt to keep you moving. Otherwise, you'll get stagnant and just smoke weed and play video games. You know what I mean? And just eat food, and you won't be trying to stay on point. So the wind will keep pushing your sails, and whether it's a pleasant movement or an unpleasant movement, it doesn't matter. All things work for the good of those who love the Lord. That's one of my favorite sayings. In other words, like if you just love God, i.e., if you don't like that word, which I understand because people were raised and it was like everybody just was cramming God down their throat. You're going to burn in hell forever. It's like, whoa, calm down, man. God is pure love in my world. Can you dig it? And so it's like a divine source that yes, your father may punish you when you're a child. And I don't do the whole God as the father thing. I can totally dig why people do. But for me, God is the father, mother, equal, balanced. But that's also another level. And of course, it's also beyond that, too. But I can totally dig why people do the father figure thing and all that stuff. But like a loving father. And then there's the other context, which is just like God is the father, nature's the mother, whatever. In the end, it'll all just disappear into one homogeneous, infinite, lightless light, and it'll be pure, brilliant, perfect stillness. But aside from that, and then there's nothing that can be said about it. And then the quagmire of the words just gets everybody fighting. And so what I do is I've decided, and this is for the record, everyone, take this down for the record, because I got a lot of people that are always trying to correct me for my spiritual views. You win. You won. You got me. Your concepts are better than mine. But the thing is I'd rather just throw the concepts overboard, toss them off the ship, and fly free forever. So I'll let everybody have their concepts. You got to understand, just as I am right now, words. I'm using words. Now, was I sitting here in silence? Yes. But my mind was very active. My body was very robust. And I'm telling you, it's from the living foods, which, I'm on the living foods diet, some better than others, but those sprouts. And then I blasted hella enzymes before and after. And I'm telling you, if you want to have energy, I know that people make videos about me. Dan McDonald's a scumbag, but you got to realize these are like the fruitarian breatharians, of course. They're all newbies and stuff. And you can't do that for forever. They think they can, and then they put everyone down. Food is such a low level, but then you'll find out, as I have over the last 30 years, that all the so called breatharians, fraud is too strong of a word, because on one level, we are breatharians, or oxygenitarians would probably be better. Airitarians, like air is the number one source of nutrition. But it turns out that most of them are not. So chronic living is great. Dry fasting is great. Don't do it. Not on my account, but if you're like me and you've been through the gamut of everything and you're an expert and you know how to prepare yourself by saturating your cells with the H2O2, from the living foods and the juices and stuff, then, and I go out in the desert, it's hotter than heck, and I hike 17 miles with no water in 120-degree heat. Yes, I am hallucinating by the end. The last time I did that, I was like, it was hella funny. I was started to hallucinate, and I don't recommend it because you can get lost and stuff. But I do it because I'm like the David Goggins of raw food, and I'm like, come on, you pussy, get it together. I like to just make myself tough. I like to get cold, get wet, get hot. Not too much. I don't want to punish myself. I don't want to freeze to death or burn to death, but I want to get uncomfortable. So I was out in the desert, and I was kind of like, I was 17 miles. I went to Thompson Peak and took no water, and it was hot, and I was like cooked. And by the end of that thing, I was like hallucinating. I need to go I need to walk to Washington, D.C. and talk to Donald Trump about peace. And then I was like, and then after that, I got to walk all the way to Russia. I got to talk to Putin about peace. And then after I do that, I got to go to China and talk to Xi Jinping about peace. So, anyways, that was hella funny. Then I got back to the car and drank some water. And man, when you've been out in the desert in 120-degree heat and just hiking 17 miles, you will really, really, really appreciate water. So anyhow, I wanted to thank everyone. That's what I also wanted to do. So thanks for being here still. I know I'm normally I'd be like, hey, good morning, everyone. But I want to cram in again an hour's worth of stuff in 20 minutes. So I'm talking hella fast and I'm super excited. I know this day is going to be dope. I'm going to be moving into my favorite room of all time today, and I'm just going to try to get as much work done as I possibly can. So be prepared for some recipe videos and some philosophy, because the people are not well, and we've got to get this message out there. The globalists and the pharmaceuticals, and they're just, they don't want you. They've suppressed everything about enzyme therapy, living foods, nutrition, detox, healing, herbology. They want you on Ozempic with all the side effects. And you don't, it's like, I was reading about the Ozempic. It's like you don't lose any more weight than you would if you went on enzymes and raw food. But then you have all the side effects. But the thing is like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I can just take this shot and I can keep eating cheeseburgers and fries. Got nothing against cheeseburgers and fries, but if that's all you eat, you're going to get fat and you're going to get blubbery, and you're going to get, you know, your blood pressure and your, varicose veins, and you're going to get the fat and the blubbery, coagulated proteins just sticking, and the coagulated carbohydrate residues. And that's just going to stick there until you can raise your enzyme activity via either, dry fasting is the absolute accelerated, but most people shouldn't do that because they're so out of shape that it could be detrimental. And then the water fasting is secondarily. I'll explain dry fasting one of these days. I just kind of keep quiet about it because, most people are just not there, but it can be an extremely useful tool. And I've done quite a bit actually. And I always start every water fast with a dry fast. Anyhow, don't do it until you get a consult with me or something so I can make sure that you're on point with it. But the water fasting is a secondary because then the enzymes blast uh, from your enzymes, and they start gobbling up all those dead coagulated proteins, carbs, and fats, depending upon what your dietary choices are and how old you are. Like I said, when the enzyme activity just plummets after 30, especially if you're stressed, to smoking, drinking, cooked foods, excessive sex, and excessive exercise. That's right, you have to be moderate in all things. So if you learn to walk right down the middle of everything, that's kind of what the good universal consciousness, i.e., God, has helped me with, and I pray through and to Jesus. So I'm a very unique character. No one, listen to me, no one is ever going to get me to change. You telling me that I'm wrong about my spiritual beliefs is never going to work. People have had zero effect on the way I see things. And so you can keep that to yourself. When you're walking on water, I will find you and ask you for advice. Until then, I'm going to follow my own inner guru. See? Because I have learned through meditation, fasting, prayer, that the greatest teacher is already within you. And then the other teacher, like if you're a Dan McDonald teacher, Life Regenerator, I'm going to say to you, learn to listen to yourself. Of course, there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can learn about the food trip, the exercise trip, the fresh air, the Wi Fi, the globalist psychopaths that want to, cut you up and irradiate you once you have gotten so low in the enzyme bank account that now everything's coagulating, and then they call it cancer because you don't have circulation because these proteins built up in your bloodstream, and then they saturated different pockets of your body, and now they give it a disease name, but it's all just the same. It's an enzyme deficiency. That's why raw living foods is so amazing. But I'm not like the military police coming to your house, standing over you, screaming at you when you're eating a donut or something because you've had a long 3 weeks. Your husband's divorcing you. Your dog got ran over. You're wiping both your mom and your dad's butts and keeping them alive, and you're just so stressed that you're eating a donut. Now you got me standing there over the top of you, the vegan police or the food police, and you have my permission to punch those people in the face because food is a stimulant, and food is a palliative. And this is all the crap I wanted to get off my chest, is like fasting, you know chronic living, uh, juice diets, fruitarian, raw foods is amazing stuff. And then the people, they start out, they've been doing this for a couple years, and they're preaching to everyone, you losers, you're eating food. I've been eating only fruits for 2 years or something, or I did one 24-day dry fast, and now they're standing up on a soapbox looking down at you and preaching to you like you're some kind of piece of crap because you're still eating It's ridiculous. But that being said, this is like 32 years of juicing, 25 years of raw food, and everything. The fat I've done the fasting, I've done the dry fasting, the juice fasting, the fruit diets, and one thing's for certain, I want to try to be, and maybe I'm doing that too to a different extent, but trying to tell these other people to chill out, but it's it's somewhere, it's just balance. Try to be loving, understanding, compassionate. I'm doing my best to be somewhere right in the middle of being helpful and just having a positive impact is all I'm trying to do, is try to be a positive vibration on social media and in my life around the real people. But here's the thing, all those disciplines are great, but you also need to learn to love to eat. So, do you see how you can go from one extreme to the other, eating way too much, enjoying it too much, relying on it too much? But then you can also go on the other side and start fasting and juicing, and then you think that your poop doesn't stink and that you're better than everyone else and you're more spiritual, but that's not real spirituality. Spirituality is that even equal I, that all is one, that everything is the divine expression, and so then you do your level best through your own experiences to be hopefully humbled by God to where you've had your face smashed in, a few times, to where you're like, wow, okay, so this life is not as easy as I thought. Just because I read a few books and did a little water fasting or whatever, it doesn't make you better than anyone else. And that's just a huge thing that I think, because everyone is susceptible. Yes, you're some, 30 something single chick, and you found the raw food diet, and you've had some success with it, you've lost some weight. Now you're just standing up there trying to make everyone else feel like crap because they don't live like you. But see, the day's going to come when your dog is going to get ran over, your mom is going to die, you are going to lose your job, you're going to lose your house, your boyfriend's going to cheat on you, whatever. A million different things happen. And then you'll see how much of a master you truly are. Because I have seen it within almost everyone, a precipitous fall, you know, because life can do that and just knock your knees out from under you, and you'll be humbled. I've eaten my fair share of humble pie, and I'm not trying to be a preacher know it all here either. I am, with the best intention that I have, trying to be of help and service and reasonable, realistic, loving, grounded, third dimensional person. And it was another thing I was thinking about this morning before I move into the next topic. But, you know, I have plenty going on in the fifth dimension, believe it or not. But I was just like this morning, I was just like, you know what? Forget about ascension. You know, we can do that later. You're going to live in eternity for forever. But you have this human life in the third dimension. I was like, I'm going to live in the third dimension while I'm here. You know, I'm going to do third dimensional things as a human being. And then later on, I'll live in eternity in the fifth dimension as an eternal, infinite light being. So, what I'm going to try to do is, you know, burn the rubber on this road here of being human while I'm here, and just be cool with people and have fun, and some other things too that are human, because I'm definitely a masculine man, which of course you see that all over the internet, men bad, which is ridiculous, the patriarchy and all that other crap. Don't waste your time with any of that. Just get your own life, because you're the one that is going to make it or break it if you have a good life or not a good life, you know? Like I said on my Instagram, Facebook post yesterday, you can't change the world, but you can change the way you see the world. And that's what I've done. And so that's why I don't have to complain about politics. I don't have to complain about the matriarchy, which no man ever does. Men love women. You know, women are amazingly beautiful and men are simple, but men also do a lot. They built the roof. you know? Men built the roof, they built the stairs, the house. They do a lot. So the women are like, what do these men do anyways? We do everything. It's like the men do a lot. So anyhow, that's my little pet peeve on the internet. But a real grounded, sane, feminine woman is like loves men just as much as men love women and their usefulness because men want to provide and protect. Yes, there's a lot of lazy weed smoking, no offense everyone, I get it, but video game playing, no job, living in their mom and dad's basement 37-year-olds watching porn and masturbating for the third time today. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about men who get up, go to work, and do the right thing for their family or their community. Good men. So, anyways, that's I'm mad as hell. I'm not taking this crap anymore. There are good men out there. I know because I'm one of them, you know. So, anyhow, the final thing that I'd like to say before I let you go today is that I got a lot of great offers, and I never got to thank everyone. I may make another video about this, but a lot of offers from all over the world for places to stay. And some of them were amazingly nice. And for whatever reason, I mean, this guy, he'd rather just stay in the back of a Subaru Outback than, you know, it, it, a lot. It was really, really. Most of it was like unconditional, or just like uh, minimized rent, or in trade, or something like that. But I just wanted to thank everyone. I got hundreds of offers. So the one thing I've learned is that I'll never freeze to death. Okay, and so I know that, and I wanted to thank everyone. I just choose the ridiculously independent route. I mean, I just love my own energy field. And through this life, every once in a while, I'll meet a precious or a woman, and I will have this, and I enjoy, living with a partner, you know. Um, but usually I'm just ridiculously independent. And that's where I'm at right now, just by myself in this little motel room, and I'm moving up to the I mean, my favorite room in the whole world. It's my favorite place in the whole world, and it is a place where I want to do the retreats. So that's what's going to be next. But I want to tell everybody about my retreats. They're not fancy. I don't want to do fancy because the whole world is exhausted, and everyone that I know needs to rest. We are exhausted. We cannot keep up with this technological, industrialized society where everyone is just high on coffee, and they start at 3 in the morning and then go all day. We're way off with our biological circadian rhythms as far as like the lights messing us up. When there's no lights and you go camping, trust me, when the sun goes down, even if it's 5:30, 6, boom, you're out. As long as you've got light, you trick your brain. But when you're out camping and the sun's gone, I mean, you just bonk. You're done. Then you're up hella early, just refreshed, invigorated. But then with all this light pollution, people are up till 11, 12, and they're missing the best sleep for their brain. Then they got to get up in the morning and have yerba mate or coffee. And so, and I'm not criticizing anyone because nobody's been more of an addict of everything under the sun than me. Thank God I'm sober now, you know? And then that's a whole process in and of itself. And the only drug left is food, which is a modulator and a stimulant, and a palliative. So it's like, that's why I don't judge anyone because you don't know where someone's at in their journey, whether they're using food to stimulate, which is a good thing, whether they're using food as a uh, modulator, or whether they're using food as a palliative. And usually throughout the day, we kind of, you know, do all of it. And that's why I like to have like maybe one or two juices in the day if I'm super active, and then one meal at night. Another great plan is just, fasting all day for like 20 or 22 hours and then having one meal, Um, but that's a pretty high level. That's what I did yesterday. And so I'm just, again, rambling, but it's fun because I wanted to get all this off my chest, man, because I have a really great thing here and I wanted everyone to know for sure, and I mean it, that I really appreciate everyone's offer. It's just that, I am the freest of the free spirits, you know? And here's the thing, I'm not really the one in control here. So I'm going with the flow of the divine. And um, it has me here now in my favorite room. I'm going to make some videos this week. I'm going to go over the enzyme, raw food, living food, detox concept because everyone's exhausted, overweight, and there's all this cancer and diabetes, obesity, and blood pressure and heart disease and strokes. And it can all be mitigated if you can learn and apply. And that's the hard part is the application. And that's the reason why I recommend the enzymes because the discipline can be tough to change your life and to learn how to, and you got your family and your wife is like cooking for you. But that's why the enzymes are brilliant because, it's only $150 for a bag that'll last you a couple months that'll at least help to digest the food that's cooked, because if you don't, then the pancreas is overworked, the glands get overworked, and then you just get more and more tired, and then you need more and more stimulants because, and so that's why the all the fruitarians and stuff, they hate me, but I'm working with real people. They're not fruitarians, they're not breatharians, they're not liquidarians, they're just normal people that are struggling with everything, alcohol, drugs, food, you know and so I'm just like, hey, just that's why we've got the Paradigm Core 4 protocol. It'll clean you out. It's a little bit of money, but my philosophy is this, and remember this, take this from Dan McDonald. There is an ocean of money, okay? But there is not an ocean of wisdom and there is not an ocean of discipline, okay? There's a thimble full of wisdom and a thimble full of discipline, but there is an ocean of money. And that's why things like the enzymes are an amazing technology, which has been around for a long time, but the pharmaceutical companies do not want you to know because it will neutralize about half of their pharmaceutical pills, enzyme therapy, and raw food detoxification. Living foods. The living foods contain the enzymes which digest themselves. And as you go down this path and you eat lighter fruits and juices and you have enzyme rich foods, then you get more and more and more energy. But you also have to break down all the coagulated fats, all the coagulated carbs, and all the coagulated proteins left behind from your lifetime of eating cooked food. Now, the best way to do that, like I said, is dry fasting. Not for most of you, but if you work your way to that point, that is the purgatorial fire of the evisceration of all these old dead cells just to get at the water inside of these coagulated proteins, carbs, fats, and these tissues that are just waterlogged with toxicity. And then as you're dry fasting, it pulls all the toxins out, but then it can be very uncomfortable, especially if you jump into it too soon without a lot of preparatory. But then the water fasting is amazing too, because it's a much slower process, and then juice fasting secondarily. And then, but that's the reason why we bring in the core four from Pyridine, because of the probiotics, the enzymes, and the herbs that help to break everything down and be, if you're not ready to do the dry fasting and the water fasting, And at least with the enzymes, that's what makes it so brilliant. And then, of course, same thing though with the raw living foods that is cultured, sprouted at Olak, which is far more lighter than the other raw food restaurants because they don't culturize with the probiotics. But everything at the Olak is culturized, so that is a much lighter, easier digestible food. But at the same time, between Lou and I, when we were out to dinner the other night, we blasted like a half a can of enzymes, even still yet with the raw living foods. So it's still good to take, even if you're eating the raw living foods because of the nature of the toxicity of our society and the taxing of every system, from the light, from the sound, from the air pollution. So if you are eating cooked food, of course, it can help you to keep you from, withdrawing from the enzyme bank account, because genetically you're born, and it all actually goes, none of the other doctors or anything that are talking about this, when you're doing the research on the enzyme therapy, they only talk about the genetics from your mother and your father, but it actually comes from your grandmother. The eggs inside your grandmother is the beginning of the epigenetic expression of your genetic potential or your enzyme potential, or the amount of enzyme potential that you have within your DNA that's encoded in there. So it could be, you could be burning it out by your late 20s, or you could last well into your late 30s. But either way, by the time we're in our 40s, we do not have the same enzyme potential that we did. That's why you can't go out drinking all night, eat a large pizza at midnight or 1 in the morning, and wake up feeling refreshed like you did when you were as a teenager or when you were in your 20s. You were ready to go again, back up on the ski slopes, after a night of partying. Well, you're in your 40s now, and you're like, you try to do that, and you're like, it takes a whole day or two to recover, a massage. You got to go to the spa, and have a detox in the sauna and drink a ton of water, And by the way, if you want to sober up really quickly, you blast a whole bunch of enzymes. Once you're done drinking, you go eat about, 10 Pyrazyme or like 20 Lifezyme, and the Pyrazyme is just only super concentrated, and that's the therapeutic dose. And I'm going to go over all this in the videos to come in the days ahead here, because, you know, when you take the enzymes with the food that's cooked, or even with the raw food, it helps. Like I took enzymes last night with the raw food, and that's why I'm have hella energy today. Again, it's coming from my root chakra, if you will, or my, testicular fortitude coursing through my body. So I'm very excited to be alive today, and I'm going to go hiking again, like I do pretty much every day. I left my bike at my mom's, otherwise I'd go biking, but every day is going to be hiking, and then I'm going to go do a yoga class and maybe even hit the gym as well, because there's this place over here where they've got 1 week for free. So I'm still trying to save money any which way that I can. So they've got this free 1 week trial at this gym, and I'll be here for a week. So I'm like, I can hit the gym, I can make these videos, I can get caught up on all these consults. TrueRadiantHealth@gmail.com. And there's a link down below these videos so you can see how much it costs so you don't get sticker shock. And then you can also click on the link, because it's sometimes can be hard for people to spell TrueRadiantHealth@gmail.com, but that's where you get a hold of me. I keep quit forgetting to say that on all these videos, but the reason why I have that energy is because I took the probiotics and enzymes before, ate a living foods meal, then took hella enzyme therapy afterwards, and so that's where you get hella energy. So if you want to try to extend your enzyme bank account, because that's why grandma's chilling, she ain't, it's all arthritis and stuff from all the histamines and all the undigested proteins coagulating inside of the joints. And so enzymes are amazing for the inflammation in the joints or the arthritis. And if you can keep your enzyme bank account from being completely diminished, so if you want to be rich in your health, you want to have as much enzyme potential and activity as possible through the fasting, through the juicing, through the living foods as much as possible. And then for the all the mere mortals, of which is all the people that I know that, occasionally eat cooked food or basically eat cooked food every day, that's where you get the bag of the lifetime and you use those with your food to help digest all the proteins, carbs, and fats so that you don't wipe out your enzyme bank account and end up at zero or owing the bank money for overdraft. That's what we've got right now. The world is in an overdraft on their enzyme bank account. And like I said, it comes genetically from your grandma, and then you are going to make decisions whether or not, you do drugs, alcohol, excessive amounts of cooked food as a stimulant or a palliative, depending upon the nature of your life. But if you just kind of minimize the amount of food and eat moderately, then you'll have to deal with all your problems and you get sober, then you can just deal with all your feelings and all the crap. And but if waking up is hard to do because you might realize, oh, I'm in the wrong relationship and that's hard to deal with. You might wake up and realize you're in the wrong job. You might wake up and realize you're in the wrong state. You might wake up and realize a lot of different things, and it's sometimes it's easier for people just to stay asleep to it all. And so you got to give them, you know your blessing on that too, because life is hard and not everyone is here to really have a lot of evolution. It's kind of like you ascend in the fifth dimension, but then you realize, hold on a second here, I'm a human being for a few more seconds, let's enjoy the hell out of this, excuse me, enjoy the heck out of this, and then you're like, well, I'm just going to be human. And then that's part of the ascension process because you realize, wow, you only have a few minutes to pet the doggy, to give your girlfriend a kiss, to go get a Chinese butt massage, to go climb these mountains and be like, yesterday I was at this mountain and it was just like I was on Mars, man. I was at the top of this mountain and these rocks and the geology was unbelievable. These rocks that were just like sticking up at this angle, and it was like on planet Mars, and it was just the most beautiful thing. And I thought, I gotta make more of these hiking videos for sure. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, is making more hiking videos. But I have to keep my head above water and help all these people too, because I think that's one of my underlying messages is like, how can we get these people to not die of all these diseases and be overweight? Because I've been helping this one guy for sure. He's been getting a lot of consults, and we finally, it didn't take long to bring his blood pressure down through this lifestyle, but it was constant, like almost weekly consulting, you know and I think he's really smart because he sees. And then I've been helping him, and now his blood pressure's down and he's starting to lose weight. But he just needs me to continually pound it into him because it's so easy for people to just go back to their old ways, And so I'm like a drill sergeant, like, but also I'm a gentle drill sergeant. But anyhow, I'm just trying to help people to understand. Like, I don't care about all these raw foodists that hate me because I sell herbs and supplements, because the world it's an upside down clown town, and I'm working professionally for real normal people. I'm not like, well, let's just have our little influencer bubble and put everyone down. I just want to be here for the real people. These influencers whose poop doesn't stink, I could give a crap less about any of that crap. I've been dealing with thousands of real people. I've done thousands of consults, and none of it is like these influencers that are so pristine and perfect, and they're breatharians, and their yoni doesn't stink, and all this crap, and they're better than everyone else. I don't do any of that. I have a strong aversion to it. Maybe I should learn to accept it more. But you don't want to be like that. Loving, kind, good, and then down here in reality where the people are actually real people and we're kind of just struggling through this upside down clown town twilight zone, reality TV show, American politics, you know, a loony bin place. But the thing is, here's the other thing. I just had to get all this crap off my chest. Do you understand? Um, you can enjoy this whole thing. You can enjoy it all. You can just accept it. All this crap, like things that you're never going to be able to change. And then just do the best you can with the things that you think you can. And that's the other thing. I mean, look, dude, that's the other thing too. It's like, yes, we created these enzymes 13 years ago. We started this whole new thing, super concentrated. And it's like, look, I've already accepted a lot of the people, they're not going to be able to change. But the thing is okay, so your wife is never going to stop cooking this Indian food, and you're never going to be able to stop eating it because your whole life would turn into shambles. So you get a bag of Lifezyme and you take the Lifezyme before you eat the Indian food, and then you take the enzymes after you eat the Indian food, and it keeps you from coagulating as rapidly. And then when she's not looking, or whenever you get a chance, you go down to the juice bar and you take the enzymes, whether it's the Lifezyme or the Purezyme, better yet, especially if you have any kind of fibroids or, C word. I still got to be very careful. YouTube is a trip. But, these, all these skin issues and everything else, if you take the enzymes on an empty stomach, then they work therapeutically. If you take the enzymes with the food, it helps to digest the food more cleanly. And I'll do a demonstration of the oatmeal because I'm going to take a humongous, gigantic bowl of oatmeal because I have a full kitchen this week. And you'll see it'll be a bowl of gelatin, and I will take one enzyme. So, what I'm saying is that one enzyme breaks down 1,000,000 times its weight in food. Okay? So these enzymes are brilliant, and I wish everyone could understand the enzyme concept, and raw food, living food nutrition, and how you wear out your enzyme bank account, and enzymes do everything. So that's why I'm stoked. I'm going to do more hiking videos because people love that. And over on that end, I collect the Google AdSense because they stick around longer and it helps my algorithms. And I appreciate everyone for watching my videos and stuff. But I also have all these other people that really need to get healthy. And so, so all of this is my job, and it's also my art, and it's also, I think it's my purpose. I don't know, but it's kind of like all my purpose. My purpose is just to be me. And I just see all the negativity and I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to get sucked into that. Now, it has been a long journey for me to learn to control the mind, to accept life as it is, to find the middle ground, and have a consciousness that sees that it's all divine, that I can relax and I don't have to be negative and I don't have to be afraid. And that's taken me a lot of work, a long, drawn out process of transformation. Also, changing from poverty consciousness. That's why you have to be bold and you just be honest with your people. Like, look, this is my job, and I got myself out of poverty consciousness, and I'm going to continue to expand in abundance consciousness because it's an ocean of money, an ocean of energy, an infinite ocean of potential. So if you have a dream and you want to make something happen and you want to live a good life, you know, don't let all these negative Nancy's with their poverty consciousness drag you down. And don't let anybody be the food police on you either, because fasting is good and feasting is good. And somewhere in the middle, you've got to meet yourself, you know? So you have to learn how to grub. You have to learn how to dog down and eat way too much at Olak with Lou, celebrating, laughing, and Lou was like, there's no way I would do this without these enzymes. And I said, me either, So we're dogging down all this sprouted, living, cultured food, which is super ultra light. But, we know that we need to take the enzymes with it also. But we love it too, to hang out and eat Olak because the soup and the rice, soaked, sprouted, cultured rice, and the salads with the sea vegetables and the minerals, because you don't want to get excessive, but you also don't want to get deficient. So, somewhere in the middle, you're looking for the most nutrient dense, local, living, fresh, high vibrational, enzyme rich foods, and so that you can, number one, not get bogged down from an enzyme deficiency by eating too much cooked food or overeating, you know of the food, because then that wipes out your pancreas and your endocrine glands, and then that's when you start to get overweight, sick, tired, depressed, and need all the excessive coffees and stuff. And then on the other side, you don't want to feel bad about eating either, because food is amazing. Food is a great gift from God, and it can be a great connection with other people. And you can eat and laugh and be happy and grateful and connect. And it calms everyone down because everyone gets together. They've had a long, stressful week, a long stressful year. They sit down for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever and overeat, but it's relaxing. So there's nothing, I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad about anything. I just want to celebrate life with everyone. And I also want to say, look, a lot of my clients, they just have big bellies and they have a lot of cellulite and they have a lot of, you know, I was at the hot springs. I got to make a video this week about the varicose veins, because it's just coagulation. And, you know, the enzymes can really help, especially when, consumed with the fresh juice. And so that's why I'm going to continue to go on this ministry, and we're going to continue to change the world with, as much living foods as possible, the enzymes and the herbs from Pyridime as my vehicle, so that I can continue to do this work and, continue to have like a place to sleep and all that stuff. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I am going to go. I'm going to stay here for a week. This is my retreat. I'm on my retreat that I need to give myself. I decided that. I looked on booking.com, and this room, which is never available, you might be able to get it for maybe 2, maybe 3 days in a row. It was open for an entire week. It's one of the most popular rooms in the world. And so it's like impossible to get it, and it was available for one full week. And I was like, and then I called the lady because I wanted to make sure, because booking.com screws me over. And she said, no, it's available. And I said, wow, that's a miracle. And she's like, yes, it is. And I said, I want it. So I booked it. It's super expensive, but I don't care. I'm going to work my butt off this week to try to make up for it. I do have a bunch of consults coming in, so I really appreciate that from everyone. And I really, really appreciate everyone's offer to stay in their RV or in their house or in their guest room. I didn't take anyone up on it just because I am the most ridiculously independent person. And I know that it would have been cool. My ex-wife, she was like, maybe you should go on some kind of tour. And I was like, okay, that's not a bad idea either, but that could be kind of exhausting either, especially if I'd have to get paid for it, because this is what people need to understand when you're an influencer is if you're doing all this stuff for people, it's a lot of work. And when you work for someone on a retreat for like a week, you got to have a week off after that to get yourself back. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, but it's not worth it. It wouldn't even be worth it. And that's the thing, unless you make it worth it for yourself financially, so that you can take a week off and get a couple massages and recuperate yourself, then you're just burning yourself out. Then you're going against your own message and burning yourself out. The next thing you know, you're like, well, I'm a raw guy, but I got to have my coffee, because you're just wiping yourself out. And so our lifestyle is ridiculous. I also thought about like lifestyle upgrades. Hire me for a day to come into your house and look at all the things that's wrong. Like, I'll look at your screens. About 80% of you, I'll look at your screens and be like, hey, you see that? You're breathing in all that dust. Clean the screens. I go to your refrigerator and be like, you see all that mustard from 1987? That's what your colon looks like, And then I can go through and do the lifestyle assessment. That would be another good thing too. So there's infinite potential, but the one thing that I seem to have the most reach with is these videos. And I just wanted to catch up um, all my people. And so thanks for still being here after all this. You know, a lot of people dropped off, of course, and they're not here anymore. But for those of you that are, thank you. I just wanted to get all this off my chest. I believe that life is good. I don't believe in all this hyper negativity, men hating or women hating men, and everyone hating all this political stuff, and everyone hating everyone else, and everyone hating white people, and everyone hating black people, and everyone hating each other. The division and the separation, you got to hand it to the Soros and these communists that want to destroy America. They're doing a great job and people are getting sucked into it, but I am not. I will not do that. I don't give a crap about the propaganda machine, which is everything. The YouTube, the Meta, the Instagram, the mainstream, lamestream, false media. It's all a bunch of crap. Go outside. It's epic. The wind, the sun, the flowing waters, the fresh air, and connecting here on social media with positive vibes. And so forget about all the negative Nancy's who are just unhappy with their miserable lives. Just be stoked because you're here in the third dimension just for a brief moment. Take care of this vehicle. That's the thing. Okay. I turned this whole thing. Your body is here and then it's gone. But if you can learn a few good things like I've learned and I'm trying to teach on here about the colonics and the enzymes and the herbs and the exercise and the sunlight and the sleeping and the no BS with all these negative Nancy's who are just dragging your vibes down, it's like, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore, Margaret. You are too negative. What are you talking about? You know, it's all your fault. You know, just get away from all that crap if you can, and try to think more positively. Listen to these positive, man, the things I listen to are epic. It's so positive, it just lifts you up. It's like God is everywhere. It's like, let's celebrate. And you can just love God and surrender to it. And then you're like, well, who cares what happens as long as I'm with God, which is everywhere all the time. So I can't lose. And then you're like, well, then I'm going to die. And then you're like, well, yeah, but that's not really that big a deal because then this whole mess is over with and I'm free. So you can't lose with the right attitude, with the right perspective. You're just winning, 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 winning everything all the time. And then death is the greatest win of all because you're like, ha, suckers, I'm free now. Enjoy your cheeseburgers and your clogged up colon. I'm out of here. Woohoo. So there's nothing that can get you down. Can you dig it? You got to get your gut right, though. And that's why the paradigm is so epic. It's the garden of the gut company. Lou is very intelligent. Raw living foods. And then when you have all this other crap with the antibiotics and the pesticides and the cooked foods and the fried oils and the solvents and the additives, blocking up all your receptor sites, and then everything is sterilized. So all the microbiology coming from the raw food is all cooked off, rinsed off. You want to get as much dirt as you can because the pterohydrites in the soil are what allow for the communication between the microbiology in your gastrointestinal tract. And so they're napalming everybody with all these pesticides and all these crappy foods and all these plastic foods like McDonald's cheeseburger 10 years later looks exactly the same as the one when you went through the drive-through today. You know what I'm saying? That's plastic food. And the more of that you eat, the more enzymes and fasting you're going to have to do. So I'm just going to get on this. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this. I don't care the other influencers. I don't like Dan McDonald. Well, they're dealing in some kind of la la land, and I'm down here with the real people in the trenches, fighting to just give people their lower blood pressure, to get their blood circulation back after the stroke, to help them heal their joints and increase mobility and get their cellular energy up higher so that they can have a little more energy, a little more happiness. It's a vibration. So raise your vibration any way and every way that you can. And my vehicle is raw foods, enzymes, cultured foods, exercise, sleep, colon cleansing, and 100 other things, and a positive attitude, prayer. Just pray and ask God for what you want. I was on the mountain the other day because I've got my limitations too, man. I'm like, please, God, help me break me through from these strongholds. And I'm praying to all the angels, all the saints, all the light workers in the heavenly realms to help me. like, hey man, I'm stuck on this thing, like I'm super healthy, but there's another level waiting for me, and I really need the grace of God. So I'm praying for it to help me break through these strongholds in the name of Jesus Christ, And I'm not even religious. I'm the worst Christian there ever was. The people will be like, Dan McDonald, you're like a new age Christian devil worshiper. And I'm like, I just love God. I don't, it's all God to me. I can't put God into a safe little box. That's another thing. The people are going to try to always fix me and you're off and you're wrong. And I'm like, look, you win. Okay. You win. You're the concept master. You have quantified God, put God into your tiny little box. You're cramming your little quantifications and your concepts down my throat, telling me I'm wrong, and you win. Okay. But for me, I can't put God in a box. It is absolutely infinite power and majesty. And I am blown away by it. And no way would I try to take this little tiny pinprick flick of a bic mind and try to make God into what I want it to be so I can go around and tell all these other idiots how wrong they are. That is not my style, you know, at all. I don't even like to think about God or talk about it, but it's part of my job because I think whatever you want to call spiritual, God, the divine, the source, that which is beyond, the be all, end all, the all in all, as all. It's just, I'm blown away by it. I love it. I'm in a love affair with it. I don't understand it at all, and I don't even care because I don't need to understand love to feel it in my heart. In fact, the mind is the thing that's going to get in the way. Be like a dumb dog. You know how cats are like, well, I'm better than you. I'm in a bad mood. But the dogs are always like, I love you. I love you. And you're like, I just kicked you a minute ago. I don't care. I love you. That's how we should be with God. I love you. It's like your wife left you. I love you, because it's like you're going to get a new wife, a better one that actually cares about you, whatever. So that loving father thing coming back. I'm going off the rails this morning. I feel good. I have a consult in a couple minutes here. I just wanted to get this out of the way. Then I'm going hiking. I have a lot of energy today. I am so excited about life. I am going crazy. And I wanted to get all of that off of my chest. I would appreciate any love and support you want to send me energetically. I just love having you here. I hope I'm doing a good thing for you. That's my intention. I got a little selfish for a while there, but I'm balancing it all out like service, business, I have to do it all. You have to have a wheel that is round. And like I told you on the last video, freedom is my tenet. Freedom is the hub of the wheel. Well, God is the hub of the wheel, which of course is freedom. And then each spoke, you have to have some service, but you also have to have money to pay for your family and to, because you don't want to be on welfare in this society. Hell no, you don't want to be beholden to the government. So you create your own monetization like I've done. And thank God for Google AdSense, and thank God for Paradigm, and thank God for the consults, and thank God for the Elite Video Club. I'm making a video for them today too. So if you ever miss DTM, remember this. I will be on the Elite Video Club. I go in phases with the social media depending upon how much negativity there is on there. And it's like, I need to take a break from this clown world. But I'm always over on the Elite Video Club where I get much more in depth and personal, and I feel much more comfortable to be myself. But this video was just to say thank you to everyone, um, and just to let everybody know what's coming down the pipeline. And I'm asking for your love and support to help me with the algorithms so that, and I'll do 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos, 20-minute videos, 40-minute videos, hour-long videos, and whatever you'd like, check those out, hit the like button, make a little comment, send me an emoji, whatever. Do that on Facebook, on Instagram, anything you can, just to help me out, even if you never purchase anything or get a consult or anything. Just if you're digging it and you can dig the vibe but you don't have any money or whatever, just a little thumbs up or whatever, that helps me out. The subscription, sharing the videos, and all that stuff. I'm pushing the wheel up the deal here because of the algorithms. The Google is like a pharmaceutical company, so they push dudes like me way out the box. They don't want us getting our message out there because they want you on drugs and surgery and radiation and chemotherapy and cook, burn, poison, death, when all this needs to just be released. You need to enhance the electrical conductivity in your body through mineralization, proper water, and enzymes, which are the biocatalyst spark plugs to every single physiological and biological function in your body. So if you're sick, overweight, tired, or depressed, it is an enzyme deficiency. And that's what I'm saying. So don't let these other influencers inhibit your potential, because even the people that were on the raw foods, fruitarians, liquidarians, breatharians, they'll say, well, I'm just going to try this paradigm thing. And they'll be like, holy crap, this is a whole nother level, because you're saturating your body with the spark plugs of life, these communication proteins that allow everything to communicate. And as soon as you start saturating yourself with the juicing and enzymes, everything wakes up even to a whole nother level, even if you've been a raw foodist for forever. So the enzymes are a brilliant technology, and the world is catching on because it's growing at 5% per year, and it's becoming a multi tens of billions of dollar industry. And it's not just for, senior citizens either anymore, or the athletes who figured out a long time ago that their recovery time is enhanced with enzyme therapy. The work of the biooptimizers, Wade Lightheart, try to check out some of his videos on enzyme recovery for bodybuilders and stuff like that. And if you're eating cooked food, you most certainly need the enzymes. And it's only like $150 to save you a whole just truckload of troubles coming down the road. And so local, fresh, organic living food is the best. Right now, I'm living off apples and Asian pears because that's what's coming off the trees around me. I wanted to have that sprout meal last night as an experiment. I was like, I'm going to take the enzymes and probiotics, then I'm going to eat this high vibrational, super loaded up with sprouts, sprouted nuts, sprouted sprouts, and then the local lettuce. And the experiment was a success. I mean, I have an incredible amount of energy. I'm just laying here in the dark, um, and I'm in this dark room because I have these curtains darked out. So I am gonna miss this little room because it's the first darkness that I've had, except when I was out in the woods. So, anyways, I'm gonna check with you all again later. I've got another video coming for the Elite Video Club later today, and then I'm gonna make some more of those hiking videos. But I'm also gonna be in the kitchen this week with the juicer, going over this enzyme therapy technology consciousness with everyone else to try to get people to come alive again if they can, and get rid of these diseases. Because I have family members and stuff with cancer and everything like that, and it just sucks. And you don't have to have that. Now, not everyone's going to be like me. I'm hardcore, dude. I'm hardcore. I love this stuff, dude. I do it every day. It's my job. It's my passion. It's my fun. It's my hobby, and I'm just playing with it because then I'm going to be gone here too, and everybody dies. But while we're here, we might as well have robust sexual virility and vitality and go out on these hiking trails and just get ripped, soaking in all that oxygen and that sunlight and being happy, because the higher your enzyme potential, the happier you're going to be. When you're sad, you're enzyme deficient. When you're happy, you've got the enzyme overflow. You know what I'm saying? So, God bless you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next video. Da na 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 na.